control of Congress. Both parties seeing inner turmoil. Want to welcome back to the show California Democratic Representative John Garamendi. I'm so glad we were able to get that tech issue resolved. You're also a member of the House Armed Services and Transportation and Infrastructure Committees. So, Congressman, thank you for jumping back on with us. Let's jump right into the midterm elections. Again, we're 100 days away. We're seeing some new projections, DDHQ, showing that the GOP, according to their analysis, is likely to maintain control of the Senate, albeit by the thinnest margin that you can have, kind of 50-50. But Democrats are projected to regain control of the House by a modest 15 seats. With Democrats starting to gain some momentum, I'm curious your thoughts in terms of how the party takes advantage of actually securing victory in November.
Well, I think the Democratic Party is in very, very good shape going into November. We have the wind at our back. We have history at our back. Generally, the midterm election is in the benefit of the party that is not in power. That's the history. But there's even more at play here. We have a very serious economic problem. We have an economy that is not healthy. We have very serious inflation ahead of us. Some of it hasn't yet hit. Because the tariff issue that Trump is so stuck on is already raising prices. And you add that the war in Iran, which is a terrible hit on the cost of oil and gasoline and on all the other things that go into that oil, all of the chemicals, all of the fertilizer, all of the ability of the American economy to function is in one way or another dependent upon oil. And we know that that has gone through the roof. So Trump has created a very serious economic hit in the days ahead. Some of it's already in place. Certainly go fill up your gas can and you're going to find out how much that costs. So we're looking at a situation in which the wind is at the back for the Democrats. Now, we can fumble the ball as we have in the past. However, we're seeing us regaining our footing in Maine. And I think we'll also see when the president goes to Michigan that he's going to have a pile of problems in Michigan. So we're optimistic.
Let me ask you this, because you point out what you feel is serious economic problems here in the U.S., particularly as this conflict with Iran continues. We're not getting oil out of the Strait of Hormuz, so there's not nearly as much oil as we're used to getting, and that is impacting, people at the pumps, and it's trickling down to prices across the board from grocery stores and beyond. One of the things that Democrats were criticized for in 2024 was being able to point out the problems within the Republican Party, but not providing enough solutions. Do you think your party has enough solutions on the table to, again, actually secure voter confidence come November?
Well, certainly the first order of business is to point out the problems that the Republicans, and particularly Donald Trump and his members in Congress and the Senate, which are basically just whatever he wants, they give it. So that's the first. But you're right. We do have to have a positive agenda beyond that. And we really do. We talk about bringing down the cost of health care. Clearly a problem. You take a look once again at what the Republicans did. We do have to go back and repair the Medicare system, which is going to take a huge hit in the months ahead, as well as the Medicaid system, where millions of Americans. So we need to repair that. We also need to control the cost in the health care. With regard to infrastructure, we had a very, very positive infrastructure program in the Biden administration. Unfortunately, when the Republicans took power, they basically terminated that. And this is highways, this is water systems. These are jobs that are necessary across the agenda. We also had a research agenda. We're going to push forward on the research, education. You take a look at what has happened with the federal government's education programs. It's basically disappeared. And so school districts across the nations are scrambling to try to replace the money that has been taken away, the federal government money that's been taken away by the Trump administration. And that has caused serious disruption. So at higher education, we're seeing this across all of these. So we put the education agenda in, put the research agenda in, the infrastructure agenda, and take a look at what we are doing positively with rebuilding the American maritime industry with the SHIPS Act. We've got a good agenda going ahead, and we'll push back on what the Republicans have done.
Let me ask you this, because if we go off the projections of DDHQ, and what you mentioned, I think, is a wish list for most Americans, Republicans or Democrats: affordable health care, stronger education system for our youth, and again, bringing prices down to where people can feel like they're working hard and enjoying the American dream. But let's bring up the DDHQ map that shows what the projections are. If this turns out to be right, where Republicans hold the Senate by a 50-50 split here, obviously with Vice President J.D. Vance, they would have the majority, and we see Democrats take the House. How do you accomplish some of those things on that agenda, given that you wouldn't have the Senate potentially, and then you have the President of the United States who's squarely against some of those policies? Do you think there is bipartisanship efforts that can come post-November if that's the shakeup that happens?
Well, the answer is it'll be a tough road, no doubt about it. That map, if that is correct, it'll be very difficult, but it is very possible. I want to give you two examples that are in play right now. First of all, the road to housing, which is a bipartisan bill, a bicameral bill. It passed the House and the Senate about a month ago. And in that bill was one of my major called the Home Act, which is really revamping and ramping up the federal support for housing through the Housing and Urban Development Department. It had bipartisan support, and it is specifically addressed the low income and moderate housing crisis across this nation. President Trump would refuse to sign that. He was leveraging that, his signature, to try to get the SAVE Act passed. Yeah. Ultimately, time ran out, and it became law without his signature. Example one. Example two, this is called the SHIPS Act, a piece of legislation I've worked on for more than a decade. This is how we can and must rebuild our maritime industry, build ships once again in America, renew and upgrade our ports all across the waterfront of America. That bill is now working its way into the National Defense Act and beyond. Once again, it is bipartisan. My colleague, Trent Kelly, in the House of Representatives, is the principal sponsor amongst the Republicans. On the Senate side, it's Mike Kelly and Mr. Senator Young out of Indiana. That bill is likely to become law in whole or most of it. So we have two very good examples of, one, housing, and two, on the maritime industry, rebuilding our industrial base in the United States. Those are just two examples of being able to work across the aisle. In one case, Trump tried to torpedo it. That's the housing bill.
Yeah,
in the other case, remains to be seen.
Law. I think what you're saying is something that speaks potentially to people on both sides of the aisle. Americans want Congress to work for them. They want bipartisanship. They want a functioning congressional class, and hopefully that's what they get come November. California Democratic Representative John Garamendi, really appreciate your time and jumping back on with us.
We're going to work to that goal. Thank you.
All right. After nearly 2 weeks of U.S. airstrikes, the bomb